All right, so date night, tea, soda,
Gummy bears.
I like it.
Okay.
All right, and podcasting. Makes sense.
And kids sleeping.
Not yet.
No.
2 out of 3.
Do we know where we're going with all this?
We're gonna do it live.
Did you want to add? These are really good. I'm sorry.
That's why we buy them in bulk. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Matt and Fiona Show. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us today. We are very excited to jump right into a topic for you today. Normally I have a wonderful preamble of how the topic came to be, and I know we had a big conversation about this.
I can share that.
Do you remember what prompted it?
Yes, I do.
Oh, perfect.
A conversation I had
Woo.
with our 8-year-old.
Okay, not me.
No. I then had a follow-up conversation
No,
with you.
I remember the
regarding
follow-up.
this.
But as we started off, I went, darn, I don't know who's... Yep, okay.
It's a good one, though. And you said that as soon as I shared it with you.
I did. So, preamble, let's go.
Okay. Well, I want to save the final point to this till later. We're gonna
Perfect.
hold it off. But
okay.
I'm gonna
We have
start.
gummy bears.
Yeah. I'm gonna start it off with this with our kids. One of the things is they grow up and are getting older. Well, we didn't give them the title. First of all, I'm gonna tell you the title. And it is called Forever.
You forgot the title.
I forgot the title.
You forgot the title. It's okay. Independence in Life is the title.
And with our kids, as they grow older, we're continually teaching them more stuff so that they can become more and more independent. I mean, even, so funny story.
Funny story.
We have been working with our 3-year-old about
Yes.
dressing himself.
Which is wonderful.
Which is wonderful because
He dresses himself.
Yes, and we want him to be
He does
more...
his own hair. Mm-hmm. He kind of brushes his own teeth.
I mean, I still help him with all of the above, but yeah, I mean, and he wants to do it.
Yeah.
But so he wants to be independent, and we fought for a long time with letting him get himself dressed.
Mm-hmm.
So he now gets himself dressed. So tonight for dinner, he came in with, because he was outside playing, even though we ate dinner outside,
Yep.
but he needed dress clothes or, well, clean clothes for dinner. So he came in with...
He wasn't that dirty. He didn't need to change.
He did not need to change, especially for a barbecue outside because it is beautiful outside. But he came in with nice pants. He took one of his shirts that we usually wear for like a midweek service, put that on, and then put a one of his sports
one of his Nike
activewear over it.
Yep.
And he was so proud of himself because he got himself dressed.
Now, when I would go to get dressed, I will go through all of my shirts and pick the one I want.
Yes.
I will go through my pants or shorts and pick the one I want.
Pick the one.
Our 3-year-old
In finding these clothes.
hasn't mastered that yet.
No, so he goes in and he will take one and throw it, take one and throw it, take one and throw it. And then he finally finds the clothes that he likes. With the rest of his wardrobe scattered around his room, but he gets himself dressed. And we applaud him for the independence of getting himself dressed because he was probably, because he's the baby,
Took him the longest.
it took him the longest to learn how to get himself dressed. So, but no, we do not give him a hard time about the clothes that are scattered that I pick up after.
We don't? No, we don't.
We do not give him a hard time when I pick up clothes after every single wardrobe change. But yet we applaud him because he is dressing himself. He is becoming independent. He's wanting to get the chair and climb up and get into the refrigerator, however that works, to get his milk, his juice, or whatever he's feeling like drinking.
Yep. His blueberries.
His blueberries.
Or whatever.
So we often wonder why things are wet around the house. We're just at that stage with him. We get out of the stage with one and we find it with another.
But it is. It's one of those things where as your kids grow up and get older, you applaud them at each stage as they gain that independence.
Yeah.
When they get to the point where they can shower by themselves, right? When they can clean the rooms by themselves, when they can
Do their laundry by
Yeah.
themselves.
go get the mail,
Yes.
make oatmeal or
Breakfast, eggs.
pasta, whatever Cohen's into these days. We get so excited as we're teaching them and helping them learn and helping them progress and getting to that point. We've got some friends whose kids are just getting their driver's licenses.
Yes.
And, same thing. That independence is great. You have a built-in chauffeur or, errand runner.
Yeah.
Which is
I
awesome.
was one of those.
The flip side of that is that when we, or as we continue to raise our kids and teach our kids, and I don't just mean our kids, I mean
When families
collectively,
raise their children.
as children are raised or reared, because reared's just a fun word. You go through that phase of helping them gain independence.
Yes.
But one of the things that I think is a big driver of the statistics, and we've seen it in our church, in every church I've ever visited.
Yep.
This is, and I should have pulled a Barna number, but teenagers specifically walk away from church, walk away from God
Yep.
at an alarming rate. And part of there's a multitude of reasons for why that happens.
Right.
But a large portion of it is as parents and as a society, we've taught children to be independent and to strive to be independent, to, buy your own vehicle, get your own apartment.
Do your own homework.
Everything in between,
Yeah.
right? That you can do this on your own. You can be your own person. What we don't talk about, though,
Yeah, and this is what came up with our 8-year-old the other day.
we don't talk about how, even though you are being independent in your life, you still need to be reliant on God.
And yes, and
You still
dependent
need
on
to
him.
trust God. You still need to look to Him for help, right? And we can teach them about God and teach them how to worship and do all those things. But as we continually push for independence, no one talks about the fact that you've got to tie that together.
Yeah, so it came up when I was talking with him, and he's an old soul. He is extremely mature for his age, and this is the kid, Mom, I'm bored. And I said, well, the mudroom needs to be organized. And he goes, great. And he will go spend an hour cleaning the mudroom, and it will be neater than if I would do it. And he then goes and labels everything.
It's labeled.
It's labeled. Yeah. Like, so this container for mom and dad's sunglasses, this container for the kids' sunglasses, summer shoes, sneaker. I mean, he labels the whole thing. So he's an incredible kid and very mature. And so we were having a conversation about some of the things, the responsibilities that he has as he gets older and whatnot. And it had come up in our conversation that one of the things that he does need to work on, I mean, there's always things, but one thing that he does need to work on is when he is having a good time, when he is having a difficult time, I should say, with certain things or certain things to be so much, to make sure that he's spending his time in prayer, make sure he's still reading his Bible and all that stuff. And I realized through the conversation that we are pushing him so far to grow up and become independent. And we do devotions with the kids, we pray with them, we always tell them, call out the name of Jesus if you're ever in a hard time. But it was that conversation where I realized that here we are, we're raising him up, we're raising all our kids to be independent. And through that, we also need to make sure which is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Here on this side, be independent, but then fully 100% be dependent on God. And I think that is so important because as their independence from us grows, their dependency on God needs to grow equally.
Yeah.
And sometimes if that's not put properly, it almost seems... I mean, you said something about it. I can't even remember the words you said about it the other day, but when you and I were talking about it, you explained it. I mean, they're on opposite sides of the...
Well, it's a complete dichotomy.
Yes.
Right? You are... And you know, you could use the example of... For us, when we met, we were both completely independent people.
Right.
Right? You had everything going on in your life. Right? And not that you were ever the like Miss Independent
Right.
girl, but you were completely independent. You were in that mode where you weren't looking for a relationship because you needed someone else to complete your life.
Right.
Right? You were not looking for anything.
No, I
was in the same boat. I wasn't actively looking for anything. And then all of a sudden, you realize once you get married and spend some serious time together, how quickly you become reliant on one another. And I realize that's not the case for everyone. Okay, no one cares. But...
talking about us for a minute here.
Yeah, we're talking about me. Gosh. I've been doing my own laundry since I was 8,
Right.
9. Right? I've been ironing my own shirts. Same
We
amount of
were
time.
both of us were raised to be able to take care of ourselves and to be independent.
That being said, we've been married for what, 16, 17 years now?
Yep, coming up on 17.
Coming up on 17. I fold a ton of laundry.
Yes, he does.
I fold an absolute ton of
Yes,
laundry.
you do, and I'm so grateful.
I couldn't tell you the last time I did laundry start to finish.
Right.
And don't read into that and send me stuff. All I'm saying is, not that I'm dependent on you to do laundry, but I don't ever think about it.
No, you know it's going to
Because-
get done.
And again, I'm folding most of it, but notwithstanding, I don't spend hours every day or every week planning meals.
No.
Because, for better or worse, typically in our relationship, I depend on you for that. Can I do it? Yes. Do I do it?
He actually taught me how to cook because when we got married, I didn't know how to.
There's, to throw another quick example out there, I have a really good relationship with my parents. And I will run all kinds of decisions past them.
Oh, yeah.
Big, small, indifferent. They're also my pastor, so that adds another wrinkle into that mix. But I'll go stop by the house just to sit down and chat with my dad about something going on in work. And I'm not necessarily like coming to him, can you please impart some wisdom? Even though we can.
And sometimes
we are.
We are, but
But a lot of times we're just chatting. And he'll mention something and I'll be like, that's a great idea. And I'll do it. Again, I'm not dependent on my dad to make a business decision. I can run my company, I can run my business without constant.
But we also know that there's strength.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it comes. There's strength.
It's realizing that there are other things in life beyond just yourself that you can depend on and you can leverage. And, you know, to bring it back to kids and shrinking that divide between, on one hand, we want you to be completely independent. On the other hand, I also want you to know that not only can you come to us
Absolutely.
with anything, ever, I don't care when it is, today, tomorrow,
10 years from now.
60, well, yeah, 60 years. Close, but yes. That's what I want.
Yes.
And by that same extension, I want them to know that they can trust and rely on God the same level, if not more, right? So while I want them to be independent, I also want to teach them that they can trust, they can rely, they can lean on
Yeah.
the Lord. And, you can look at it in a warm and fuzzy side. You can look at it in a, the Lord's always there for me. When there's only one set of, footprints in the sand, it's because he carried me. But it does come back to that, train up a child verse, right? You need to train up a child in the way that they should go. And a major portion of that is that independence. But it's also recognizing where God should be in their lives. And you can talk about it. We can record podcasts about it, or listen to messages, or give messages on it. We can go through all that stuff, and hopefully our kids will learn from that. But the better way to do that is to show them.
Be an example.
And heck, I posted something this week earlier about I had went and played catch with our oldest, and he literally asked me every day. And I don't play catch with him every day, but I try to, right? If they want to do something, I try to find time.
Even if it's just 5 minutes.
Yep. And it is, in that post I was writing about how we're all busy. We all have stuff going on. But when we show them time,
Yep.
it shows them that we care.
That we're there for them.
Yeah. And it is that you're setting an example.
Yeah.
Right? So when it comes to being reliant on God and trusting God,
Yeah.
it's nothing if you as a parent have great faith. That's fantastic. We hope you all do. We hope we do.
Right.
But if you just have great faith and you never talk about it, you never show it to your kids, you never practice it in front of them, they don't know you have great faith.
Yeah.
If you are, whatever you're doing, or however you're trying to show that, if you don't set the example for your kids that God is the most important thing in your life, heck, if you don't show them that your spouse is one of the most important things in your life, if I hear or see another parent talk about how they can't kiss their spouse in front of their kids, come on. But it's about setting that example. It's about showing your children that even mom and dad, as independent and secure and
grown-up adults,
yep,
old people.
that easy.
You're not old. It's okay.
If you set the example of, we go to church, we are in our Bibles, we're reading, we're praying,
We're at the altars.
We're listening to, what we're doing, like all of those things. If we're like, our kids love watching the MBM conferences.
Yes,
right?
they do.
We have gone to them for years. The travel stuff, threw a wrench in that. But our kids love watching those when they're streaming.
It's become part of our homeschool.
Right. But it's because we taught them.
Yes.
We showed them that, even when, if mommy or daddy are home, or if we're working, or if we're in the office, if there's a conference on, we're going to stream it.
Yeah.
Because you listen to podcasts all day while you work. You watch videos or the news or whatever while you work. You can also watch a conference, right? You can listen to a teaching tape. Whatever you want to do. But when you show those examples, when you show that you're putting church above, and again, we've touched on this on other podcasts, when you show that you're putting church and your walk with God ahead of the soccer team.
And that the relationship with him is sincere.
And real.
And real. It goes a long way. You know, there's sometimes, and you know, life isn't always easy with the kids. Sometimes I'm really tired and I'll say, Jesus, just help. And I'll just say little things. Yeah, not quite, but I'll just say little things, and I'm in the middle of it doing 1,000 things. My kids will be like, Mommy, who are you talking to? I'm like, I'm talking to Jesus. Give me a minute. And they're just like, oh, okay. And they move on with it. But, you know, I also then have conversations and let them know that even though I can do all things around here because that's what they see, I need him in my life. And that, because they see that, they know that I talk to him, they know that I read my Bible, they know that I pray, they know that I rely on him, even though they see that I'm the cook, I'm the cleaner, I'm the nurse, I'm the teacher,
You do a lot.
I'm the driver, I'm the food shopper, I mean, all of it. You have a long list too, it's okay. But they see that even though I am so capable of doing all these things, I wouldn't do it without Jesus. And I think through raising them up, and again, it was just a simple conversation with my 8-year-old about how, you know, we're teaching you all these things. We want you to grow in so many of these things, but while you grow in your independence and all these things, also know that your relationship with Jesus needs to grow. Your dependency with him needs to grow. And
but you can't just say that.
No,
right?
We need to show it.
It's like anything else. Whether it is your relationship, whether it's losing your temper, whether it's showing affection, right? You can't just talk to your kids and say, you know, hey, you got to do this. Because it's really easy. But when you do that as well, it clicks.
Yeah.
But when you do the opposite, they're not going to. Again, it's a tried and true parenting thing.
Well,
right?
Here's the thing. You know what? I still screw up at times. Whether I don't handle my emotions properly, or whether I get really frustrated, which is not handling my emotions properly. One of the things that I've tried to do is when I've had those moments when I know I should have handled it better, I actually talk to my kids about it too and let them know, hey, look, I screwed up. I shouldn't have asked that. I'll go and talk to them and ask them to forgive me if I didn't handle something right, or if I didn't come and talk to them first, or if I couldn't handle them at a moment. I mean, I'm with them 24/7. There's moments, real life, but I always talk to them about it. And when I screw up, I let them know that I've screwed up, not in all areas, but so just hear me out on that. But I also let them know that I ask for their forgiveness if I didn't listen to them properly and I didn't get the right story. And I also let them know that I went and talked to Jesus, that I needed some fixing. I needed some help. I needed some wisdom.
Well, again, it's setting that example, right?
Yeah.
Of, you know, mom and dad aren't perfect. We screw up too. And when we do, we can be adults. We can be mature. We can ask for forgiveness. And, you know, again, there's a huge balance between treating your kids as adults when they're not there yet, right? But when you show them, again, when you just set a good example.
Yeah, we're train your children up in the way they should go, so when they're old, they will not depart from it. And along with that independence, their dependence on God, and help them build their own relationship. They're like, our 8-year-old, he is fully capable of having his own relationship with Jesus, man. He goes and reads his Bible, and we have Bible time, quiet time. There's even sometimes where I'm like, you know what? Just go spend some time with Jesus right now. That's my best advice for them at times. And they'll go and they'll read their Bible. They'll come and bring me scriptures that they're like, Mom, I found this and this really helped. And I love that. I love it. And I think it's so important. But while we teach them to be independent, we're also teaching them and training them to be dependent on him.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think is even more important, equally as important, more important as teaching them to be independent, to do all these amazing, wonderful things like dressing themselves, even if it means you're cleaning the bedroom up 3 times a week.
Pretty much.
Or 3 times a day. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bueno.
Yeah.
So to wrap it up again, as you're teaching them independence, teach them how important God is in their life as well. And then they'll get the best of both worlds. They'll be independent but also reliant. It's wonderful.
It is wonderful. And that dependency on God is priceless.
Yep. All right. So thanks again. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned. We'll have a brand new episode next week for you to enjoy. If you enjoyed this, like it, share it, comment, all that stuff. You can find us at the Matt and Fiona Show on most of the socials, other than TikTok, because we ain't on that. And one day we'll get into why we're not on that. But again, thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye now.
Thanks.